Carlos Prates just sent a clear message to the entire welterweight division, and it was delivered in the most brutal way possible. This wasn't a back-and-forth fight. It was a demolition job from the opening bell. Prates systematically tore apart Jack Della Maddalena's legs, worked the body relentlessly, and piled on damage throughout a completely one-sided performance. When it was over, the Brazilian wasted no time calling his shot. He wants welterweight champion Islam Makhachev. The call-out immediately turned heads, and Islam didn't stay quiet for long. He took to Twitter with a sarcastic response aimed at Prates. "Good job, Nutella cake. Classic Makhachev." But here's the thing, there's a real conversation to be had about that stylistic matchup. Even in a fight where Prates looked completely dominant, JDM still managed to get takedowns on him multiple times. Now factor in Islam Makhachev, a man who makes grappling look effortless, and suddenly the picture gets a lot more complicated for Carlos. That said, you cannot ignore what Prates has built. 3 knockouts over top welterweights. Real, undeniable momentum. The MMA community was blown away by just how dominant he looked, and whether you agree with the call-out or not, he's earned the right to aim at the top. The welterweight top 5 just got even more loaded, with multiple elite fighters all circling the champion's name. Who do you think deserves the title shot most? Drop your answer in the comments below. As expected, the UFC 328 buildup is already descending into chaos, and fight week hasn't even properly started yet. Strickland is already pointing fingers, making it clear that if any press conferences get cancelled or go sideways, the blame lands squarely on Khamzat Chimaev. Strickland is questioning whether the champ can keep his composure when they come face to face. So now trying to frame Khamzat as the unstable one hasn't exactly landed with everyone watching. As for the actual fight preparation, Strickland looks locked in. He's been consistently posting training footage focused heavily on wrestling, clearly aware that grappling is Chimaev's most dangerous weapon. That's the defining narrative heading into this fight. Can Sean neutralize the pressure game and keep it standing where he's most dangerous? With both fighters talking and that stylistic clash so sharp and obvious, UFC 328 is shaping up exactly how you'd expect: messy, unpredictable, and impossible to look away from. Luke Thomas weighed in on all of it, and he and his co-host went deep on whether the UFC has actually outgrown this kind of volatile buildup. Here's what they had to say.
We have been around for many, many eras of MMA, you and I. There was such a push to MMA to clean up its act, both on the regulatory side, but more so on the presentation side. It was designed to cast a wide net, and it worked. And now we're at a place where, like, you know, we got guys literally baiting their opponents by anti-Muslim stereotypes of like the highest order. It's not that trash talk has never been ugly, but having seen the different eras of MMA, do you feel like this is historically unusual, or are we putting a level of hysteria into it that doesn't need to be there?
No, I think it's definitely gotten worse, for sure. And one of those things where the pendulum, as you said, swung a bit, where it was, hey, we want to be mainstream enough to get the mainstream recognition, right? The wide net, get a bunch of fans. Now it's almost the other way, where it's, hey, we're already there. You're not leaving if you're a fan, and if you're not a fan by this point, we're not really that concerned about you.
Flyweight champion Joshua Van didn't hold anything back during a recent podcast appearance. His target? Manel Kape. Van called him corny and cringe for the way he carries himself and talks, but in the same breath admitted that Kape might genuinely be the toughest matchup in the entire division right now, and that's exactly why he wants that fight. The champ laid out the full history. Kape publicly called him out. The UFC stepped in and offered the fight. Van accepted on short notice. No hesitation, no excuses. But Kape turned it down. And for Joshua, that says everything about where Kape's head is at when it comes to actually competing at the top level. Even with Van versus Tatsuro Taira now officially locked in as his first title defense, Joshua made it clear that stylistically, Kape remains the name he's most focused on. The knockout power, the explosive style, the overall threat level, Van respects it, and that's exactly why he wants to settle it in the cage. Taira earned his shot by finishing Brandon Moreno, so the matchup makes all the sense in the world on paper. And adding to the division's depth, former champion Alexandre Pantoja has been back in training for weeks and is targeting a return this summer, planning to face whoever holds the belt by then. Here's what Van had to say when the topip came up.
Who do you think's the most cringe when it comes to talking crap before a fight?
Manel.
Oh shit! Manel's actually a nice guy. I had him on the podcast. He loves food, fine dining.
Yeah, it's badass.
Oh my god!
That's why he weight.
He really wants the Manel fight.
Yeah. Outside of Pantoja, you think Manel is the biggest challenge for you?
For sure, man. All joke aside, like, he is, I think, one of the toughest in our division. as of right now. So that's the reason why I want to fight him next. You know what I mean? And the thing is, he been talking too much shit.
Yep. What's he say about you?
I don't, like, he called me out, but then they offered him a fight, and then he said no. And then
He called you out, then he said no.
Yeah. And I wasn't even training. They called me. They was like, hey, you want to fight? I was like, do I want to fight? Yes, of course I want to fight, right?
So you and Manel were supposed to happen at UFC 324.
Yes, so I was at the airport in Cali, trying to go back to Houston, and I said yes. As soon as I got back to Houston, I was like, I got to get in shape.
Michael Morales sat down with Spanish ESPN journalist Papa Legospi and dropped some massive news. A welterweight title fight between himself and Islam Makhachev is actively in the works, with potential target dates already being discussed behind the scenes. Morales also addressed the Tapology controversy that's been floating around. His record was briefly altered after older fights from a 2017 Ecuadorian TV show called The Last Fight were reclassified as professional bouts. After his manager, the show's production team, and Tapology all got involved, the situation was resolved. His record has been restored to undefeated. The key detail here is that Michael himself went public with the fight news. Before this interview, a title fight with Islam was nothing more than a rumor attached to the White House card. Now, Morales has put June or July on the table as the target window, which lines up perfectly with Islam recently confirming that the UFC offered him Morales back in January, a fight he had to pass on at the time due to scheduling. We translated the full interview breakdown for you. Here's Morales in his own words.
I was surprised when my record was modified because they tried to count a fight that was never official. It happened inside a TV show in Ecuador back in 2017 called The Last Fight. It was clearly explained to us that these were exhibition fights. They were not going to count on our professional records. It was just a recorded television show. The rounds were shorter, the format was similar to The Ultimate Fighter, and you advanced in phases. I lost one of those fights, but it was never meant to be professional. I have never denied that loss. I have always said I lost a fight when I was 17 years old. I say it in every interview. But it was not a professional fight with 3 5-minute rounds. It was not under Sherdog or Tapology standards, and it should never count on my record. Tapology did not investigate the event properly. My manager contacted them, and even the producers confirmed the event was not official. I fought at different weights in the same show, which alone proves it was not professional. After reviewing everything, my record went back to normal at 19-0. Now we move forward. We are waiting for fight number 20, and it's going to be big. We are already in talks about a title fight. It is actively being worked on. The timing depends on the health of the opponent, possibly June or July, but everything is moving forward and I am ready to go.
That's it from MMA Time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA updates.